I shot my sister in the chest with a blank cartridge at our family reunion barbecue, right there in the backyard under the July sun, and watched her crumple like a discarded veil, gasping for air that wasn't stolen. The crowd froze, forks midair, beers spilling into the grass, as I stood over her, the prop gun from my theater days still smoking faintly, and whispered, "That's for stealing the life I built, you parasitic bitch." No one moved because they knew, deep down, she'd earned every staged bullet. The real wound was the one she'd carved into my soul years ago. And this was just the encore. It started 12 years back, in the sticky heat of a Mobile, Alabama summer, when Mama's cancer had us both huddled in that shotgun house on Dauphin Street, the AC rattling like a death rattle. I was 22, fresh out of community college with a graphic design certificate and dreams bigger than the bayou, while Lila was 18, all legs and lies, the golden child who'd skate through life on charm and daddy's blind spots. That night, as Mama wheezed through her last morphine haze, Lila cornered me in the kitchen, her eyes wet but calculating, like a cat toying with a half-dead mouse.
"Eva,
"You gotta do it," she hissed, shoving a baggie of pills into my shaking hands, Oxy from the pharmacy where she clerked, the ones she'd been skimming for months to fund her secret boyfriend's truck payments. "Mama needs him. And if the cops come sniffing, it's on you. You're the big sister, the responsible one. I just can't go down for this." I stared at the bag, the weight of it heavier than the guilt she'd laced it with. Mama's breaths were shallow echoes now, and the hospice nurse had warned us. One more raid on the medicine cabinet, and we'd all be suspects. But Lila? She'd already pawned Grandma's heirloom ring for a down payment on that boyfriend's escape plan, some grease monkey named Travis who smelled like motor oil and bad decisions. I'd covered for her before, the shoplifted makeup at Walmart, the fender bender she blamed on phantom brakes. Always me, the fixer, the fall guy, because blood was thicker than justice. Or so Mama preached from her faded Bible. "Fine," I choked out, flushing the evidence down the sink while Lila sobbed theatrically into a dish rag. But this is the last time. It wasn't. By dawn, Mama was gone, her eyes glassy and forgiving, and the sheriff's deputies showed up 2 days later, tipped off by the pharmacy's audit trail. Lila, that viper, had forged the logs to point straight at me, my name on the pickup slips, my shift overlaps exaggerated. I spent 3 months in county lockup, a nightmare of fluorescent buzz and iron bunks, while she played the grieving daughter at the funeral, eulogizing Mama with tears that could have filled the gulf. Out on a technicality, some clerk's clerical error I clawed my way through, I rebuilt. Swore off family ties like they were moonshine. Moved up to Atlanta. Clawed into freelance design gigs that paid for a shoebox apartment in Midtown. Met Jake at a rooftop mixer for creatives. Him with his easy grin and venture capital polish. Funding startups that promised to disrupt everything from coffee to carbon footprints. He was the anti-Travis, Wharton educated, Patagonia vested. The kind of guy who quoted Malcolm Gladwell over craft IPAs. We clicked like a well-edited reel, me sketching logos for his portfolio companies. Him bankrolling my side hustle into a boutique agency. By 34, I had a corner office in a glass tower overlooking Peachtree Street, a king-size bed that didn't sag, and Jake on one knee in Piedmont Park, ring glinting like a promise. The wedding was set for May, Magnolia season, at a vineyard estate in the North Georgia hills, neutral ground, far from Mobile's ghosts. 300 guests, Jake's Silicon Valley crew in slim-fit suits. my design clients toasting with rose, and a smattering of family I'd invited out of rote politeness. Lila, of course, RSVP'd with a flourish. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Sis.
Bringing Travis, finally putting a ring on it myself. I laughed it off to Jake. Called her a harmless hurricane. But inside, the old scar itched. She arrived 2 days early. Travis in tow, his guts spilling over a too-tight polo, eyes darting like he owed bookies. Lila hadn't aged a day, still that honey-blonde bob. Yoga-toned from whatever influencer scam, she ran out of there double-wide in Biloxi. Hugs were exchanged in the hotel lobby, her perfume cloying as kudzu. "Eva, you glow," she cooed, but her gaze snagged on my diamond, appraising. That night, over rehearsal dinner shrimp and grits, she cornered Jake at the bar while I networked the room. I caught fragments, her laugh tinkling like wind chimes in a storm, his nod polite but lingering. Travis slurred compliments about my fancy city life, oblivious. By morning, my phone buzzed with anonymous texts, burner numbers, screenshots of Jake's Venmo to a Lila L for old times' sake drinks. My stomach hollowed. I confronted her in the bridal suite mirror, tools swishing like accusations. "What the hell? Lila? He's mine." She smirked, adjusting her eggplant bridesmaid gown. "Jealous much? It's just nostalgia."
Eva.
"You know how it is, Travis and I go way back. But Jake? He's got that spark you smother with your spreadsheets." Lies. All of it. But the seed was planted. That afternoon, while I was pinned into my gown for alterations, she accidentally spilled red wine on Jake's tuxedo shirt during a vineyard tour. Chaos ensued, dry cleaners scrambled, tempers flared.
Jake,
ever the fixer, blamed the caterer, but I saw her eyes, predatory, plotting. The ceremony was a blur of vows under an arbor dripping wisteria. Jake's hand steady in mine. The efficient droning about eternal bonds. Vows exchanged. Rings slipped on. And then the recessional. That's when she did it, strutted down the aisle in white. Not the lilac silk I'd picked, but a slinky chiffon number. Off the shoulder. Hitting mid-thigh. The kind of dress that screamed runaway bride at a shotgun wedding in Vegas. Gasps rippled through the pews. Aunt Marlene choked on her mint julep. Jake's jaw tightened, but he played it cool, murmuring, "Bold choice," as we posed for formals. I wanted to throttle her right there. Silk gloves be damned. But I smiled for the cameras. Teeth gritted like a vice. The photographer, Marcus, a wiry ex-Marine I'd hired for his unflinching eye, caught my signal, a subtle nod. The one we'd rehearsed over bourbon in his studio weeks ago. "If she pulls anything," I'd told him, "you expose it all." No mercy. He'd nodded. Battle-scarred grin. "Copy that."
Ma'am.
I've got the shots cued. The reception tent glowed with fairy lights. Bluegrass fiddles whining over clinking glasses. Toast slosh sentiment. Jake's best man waxing on silicon dreams. My mentor praising my unbreakable spirit. Lila's turn came late. After the third round of peach bellinis. She clinked her fork. Travis beaming like a proud poodle. And launched in. To Eva. My rock. My savior. "Remember that summer in Mobile, sis? When you took the fall for Mama's meds, so I could grieve. You're the hero we don't deserve." The tent hushed, eyes swiveled to me. Pity pooling. Jake squeezed my knee under the table, whispering, "What the fuck?" It was her opening salvo. That half-truth twisted like barbed wire. The guests murmured, Had I done time? For drugs? In the Bible Belt? That branded you faster than a scarlet A. I stood, cheeks burning, and raised my glass with a laugh that cracked like thin ice. To family, may they always keep you guessing. But inside, the plan uncoiled. Marcus, circling the edges with his Nikon, had been feeding me dirt for months. Lila's digital trail, unearthed by his hacker buddy in Austin, the affair with Jake. Yes, steamy texts from 6 months back, when I'd been in New York pitching clients. But deeper, the real secret, the one she'd buried under my prison stint. Turns out, those oxy weren't just for Mama. Lila had OD'd a friend at a beach rave, some college kid from Pensacola, pumped full of stolen scripts to party harder. The girl flatlined in a dune, autopsy clean but whispers of foul play. Lila,
Panicked.
pinned it on me, forged emails from my old Hotmail, borrowing meds for design stress. I'd taken the heat not just for the theft, but as accessory after the fact, unwittingly, because she'd sworn it was just a mix-up. The kids' families sued the pharmacy. Settled quietly. But Lila? She'd cashed in on the sympathy, snagging Travis's proposal and a GoFundMe windfall for grief counseling that funded her boob job. Marcus had the proof. Recovered chats. The girl's toxicology report digitized from public records. Even a blurry security cam still of Lila slipping out of the ER that night. My forged ID in her purse. I'd paid him retainer, 10 grand for my savings, worth every cent, to watermark it all into a slideshow, set to autoplay on the venue's projector at my cue. As the cake was cut, lemon chiffon, 3 tiers of false sweetness, Lila sidled up, white dress glowing like a ghost. Having fun yet?
Eve.
She air-kissed my cheek, breath hot with gin. Jake couldn't keep his eyes off me during the dance. Some things never change. I swirl my champagne, bubbles biting like accusations. Like your habit of grave digging? That toast was cute. But skeletons rattle louder in the light. Her laugh was a scalpel. Try me,
Sis.
I've got Jake wrapped, one word, and your perfect life unravels. The band struck up Sweet Home Alabama, irony thick as humidity, and Jake pulled me onto the floor, his cologne grounding me. But as we swayed, I spotted her with Travis, her hand on his thigh, whispering, "Enough." I broke away, signaled the DJ booth. "Cue the lights," I mouthed to Marcus, lurking in the shadows. The projector hummed to life mid-song, bathing the tent in blue glow. First slide, a grainy photo of young Lila, wild-eyed at the rave, arm around the girl, Katie. Her name was beers in hand. Gasp swelled. Next, texts. Jake's miss you. Wild 1-inch timestamped over my birthday weekend. Jake froze beside me.
Color draining. Eva.
What? Wait, I murmured, gripping his arm. Slide 3, the ER cam. My ID flashing. Lila's face blurred but unmistakable. For the autopsy snippet, multiple contaminants, circled in red. The tent erupted, whispers to shouts. Aunt Marlene fainting into a busboy's arms. Lila whirled, white dress flaring like surrender.
Eva.
You bitch, this is libel. But Marcus was ready, stepping forward with the USB drive, voice booming over the mic he'd commandeered. Not libel.
Folks. Truth.
Downloaded from public dockets. Cross-referenced with carrier logs. Eva here's the one who went down for it, 3 months in the slam for a crime that wasn't even hers. He clicked to the finale, a split screen of Lila's GoFundMe haul. $47,000 for healing, funneled to Tiffany's receipts. Chaos reigned. Jake yanked his hand from mine. Eyes storm-dark. You knew? And you. This. Travis lunged at Marcus. Fists flying. But security, my hires, ex-cops from the firm, pinned him. Lila sobbed, collapsing into a chair. Mascara rivers. It was an accident. Katie wanted to fly. I didn't mean. I stepped to the projector. Voice steady as a gavel. Accident? Like framing your sister for manslaughter? Like fucking my fiancé while I built us a future? Wear white all you want. Lila. It doesn't make you the bride. It makes you the corpse. The crowd split. Jake's tech bros murmuring, HR nightmare. My clients nodding grim approval. But others, Southern kin, blood loyal, glared at me. The vindictive harpy. Cops arrived by siren wail. Light strobing the vines like a bad acid trip. Lila was cuffed for the fraud angle. Statute hadn't run. Turns out, her wails echoing as they marched her out. Travis spat curses, vowing lawsuits. Jake? He cornered me by the bar. Ring box crushed in his fist. Was any of it real? Eva? Or just your revenge porn? I met his gaze. Heart splintering. Real as the bars I rotted in for her. You chose her thrill over my trust. Walk if you want.
He did.
Storming into the night. Taillights fading like a bad sequel. By dawn, the vineyard was a ghost town. Cake uneaten. Petals trampled. I sat on the arbor steps, gown muddied. Scrolling the fallout. Lila's bail denied. Jake's LinkedIn on leave. My agency's stocks dipping on the scandal. Marcus clapped my shoulder. USB in pocket. You good?
Boss.
Good. I laughed. Bitter as chicory. I torched my life to light hers up. Worth it, he shrugged. In the core, we called it payback with interest. But yeah, gray area. Weeks blurred into bourbon nights in my empty loft. Freelance gigs drying up like Georgia clay. Lila's trial loomed. Grand larceny. Perjury. The manslaughter plea bargain dangling like a noose. She wrote from lockup. You win.
Eve.
But Katie's ghost? That's on both of us. Bullshit. I'd borne her sins. Times she carried the weight. The twist hit like a subpoena. Jake's email. Forwarded from his lawyer. Not divorce papers, but a deposition Lila's. From pretrial discovery. In it, she claimed I knew about Katie all along. Egged her on for the high, then framed her to steal Travis back in 13. Lies. Woven tighter than a Persian rug. Backed by witnesses, paid-off rave stragglers. My prints on the baggie? Suddenly intentional. The DA. Smelling headlines. Flipped. Charges against me reopened. Accessory to reckless endangerment. I stared at the screen. Coffee cold. Revenge? It was a boomerang. Slicing back. Lila, from her cell, had played the long game, her final face turn, turning my exposure into my noose. Jake? Ghosted. But rumors swirled. He'd funded her defense. For the baby. Yeah. That sealed it, a 6-weeker. Announced in her police blotter mugshot glow. Do I fight? Run to Mexico with Marcus's offshore contacts? Or let it burn? Take the plea? Emerge scarred but free? The mirror shows a woman in black. Not white. Widow to her own wedding. Blood's thicker.
All right.
Thicker than the bars closing in. But here's the hook that keeps me up. In that deposition, Lila named Katie's mom as the tipster who'd pushed the pharmacy audit. Turns out, The old lady from Pensacola? She's my client now. Graphic rebrand for her bakery. One call. And the house of cards topples. Payback's a circle.
Y'all.
And I'm just getting started. The courtroom in Fulton County smelled like stale coffee and desperation, the kind that clung to the oak benches like a bad divorce. 6 months post-Vineyard apocalypse. And here I was. Eva Harlan, formerly Harlan Beck. Hyphen scrubbed like a felony record, sitting shotgun in my own manslaughter revival tour. Lila, orange jumpsuit chic, smirked from the defense table, her belly a gentle swell under the polyester, like she'd smuggled contraband hope. Jake slouched in the back row. Ty Askew, eyes avoiding mine. He'd lawyered up for her, whispering moral obligation to mutual friends before ghosting my calls. My attorney, a shark named Rita from the public defender's mill,
Leaned in.
She's bluffing. Eva. Those witnesses? Rave rats with rap sheets longer than yours. But that mom, Katie's, she's the wild card. You sure about flipping her? I nodded, fingers drumming the armrest. Flipping? Hell. I'd courted her. After the wedding fallout, I'd cold emailed Dolores Ruiz, Katie's mama, offering pro bono redesign for her struggling panaderia in Savannah. Redemption sketches, I called it. Sending mock-ups of pastel de conscious logos with hidden doves for the daughter lost. She bit. Hard, we zoomed weekly. Her accent thick as mole. Tears salting her stories. That girl, Lila. She poisoned my baby for fun. You paid for it. Dios. The injustice. 1 bottle of virtual Merlot and I confessed the frame job. Dolores didn't flinch. Then we end it. Together. Her testimony was cued, not just the night Katie coded, but Lila's pre-rave texts, bragging about spiking the punch with Sis's stash to test the waters. My prints? From a borrowed, vile weeks prior, when Lila'd crashed my apartment, sobbing over a Travis fight. Innocence. Weaponized. But Rita warned, juries in the South ate family drama with grits. Lila's play, pregnant widow-to-be, protective sister, narrative, had tabloids buzzing, bridal betrayal backfires, pregnant pause in revenge plot. My exposure vid, viral on TikTok. Remixed with sad violin for 2M views. Sympathy swung her way. I was the ice queen architect of ruin. Opening arguments droned. Prosecution painting me as the enabler. Defense me as the vengeful harpy. Then Dolores took the stand, rosary clicking like a metronome.
Even oh no.
Lila lie. Always. She say. Katie strong. Handle it. But my girl. She's 17. Not ready for that poison. Exhibits flashed. Lila's phone logs. Time-stamped from a flip phone I'd gifted her post-prison. For emergencies only. Emergency. Covering her tracks. Lila's cross was a circus. Her lawyer, a silver fox from Jake's firm, leaned in with paternal smarm.
MS.
Ruiz, isn't it true you settled with the pharmacy for $200,000? Bittersweet motive to fabricate. No. Dolores straightened. Eyes steel. Money no, bring back daughter. Truth do. You want motive? Look at her. Jab toward Lila, stealing life after life. The jury shifted, 2 moms in the box. Nodding. But then the twist uncoiled. Sly as Spanish moss. Rebuttal. A new witness. Travis's cousin. Swearing he saw me at the rave. Handing out pills like candy. Bullshit. I'd been home. sketching for a gig, alibied by UPS logs. But the seed stuck. Doubt's favorite fertilizer. A germ it hit like a recess bell. I slipped into the hall, air thick with cigarette ghosts from the 90s. Jake ambushed me by the vending machine, quarter trembling in his fist.
Eva.
Call it off. Lila's carrying my kid. Our mess. Not yours. I laughed, sharp as broken glass. Your mess? You dipped your wick in family poison.
Jake.
Now it's a bun in the oven?
Congrats.
Daddy. His face crumpled. That Wharton polish cracking. I thought it was closure. You were always so armored. She was raw. Real.
Raw?
She's a black widow in white lace. I jabbed his chest. You funded her lies. Live with it. He deflated, mumbling apologies. But I was already dialing Marcus. Dig deeper on the cousin. I smell payoff. That night, in my sublet off Ponce de Leon, walls thin as promises, I pored over Rita's files by desk lamp glow. Lila's prison letters. Smuggled via Travis. Jake's mine now.
Eve.
Baby seals it. Drop the Ruiz bomb. And I'll sing about your encouragement. That night you dared me to live a little after Mama died. Dared her? I begged her to stop the skimming. Post-funeral haze. Memory twisted like kudzu. Dawn brought the verdict. Mistrial on my charges. Jurors deadlocked 9-3 for acquittal, but Lila's fraud stuck. 5 years, pending sentencing. Pregnancy bump granting house arrest. Katie's ghost? Exorcised. Dolores hugging me in the lot. Whispering. Venganza served cold.
Mia.
But Jake's parting shot lingered. A certified letter. Custody petition attached. For the child's sake, it read. Child, his and hers. A living indictment. I drove south on I-75, windows down. Lynyrd Skynyrd blasting irony. Mobile called. That shotgun house sold, but echoes loud. Mama's Bible sat on the dash. Dog-eared at Proverbs. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. Sister.
Same.
Revenge? It divided the spoils uneven. Me free but fractured. Lila caged but canonized in her own myth. Yet the real hook snagged deeper.
En route.
My phone pinged, anonymous. Like old times. Screenshot. Jake and Lila's ultrasound. Captioned Family 2.0. Thanks for the push.
Eve.
Push. The dare she'd fabricated. But forensics Marcus texted. Cousin's testimony bought with Jake's crypto wallet. $5,000 in Ethereum. Circle complete?
Nah.
I U-turned at the next exit. Tires screeching like banshees. Atlanta's lights beckoned. Rita's number redialed. Dolores looped in. One more slide for the appeals deck. Jake's ledger.
Exposed.
No one's clean in this blood ballet. And me? I'm the choreographer. Cueing the finale. Payback's not a bitch. It's a sister. Wearing white to the grave. The appeals hearing was a farce wrapped in legalese. Held in a basement courtroom that reeked of mildew and misplaced justice. The kind of place where dreams went to docket. 8 months into the limbo waltz. And Atlanta's summer humidity had seeped into my bones, turning resolve to rust. Lila, belly full term now, waddled in on house arrest tether. Jake at her elbow like a reluctant prom date, his hand possessive on her lower back. Her glow a taunt. Our eyes locked across the aisle, hers victorious. Mine volcanic. Rita had built the case like a Jenga tower. Travis's cousin recanted under subpoena. mumbling about debts cleared and Jake's persuasive check. Dolores's addendum, sworn affidavit on Lila's post-rave calls, begging for Eva's help to hush it, which I'd refused. Citing lawyer. Refused, the word that flipped the script from enabler to ethical. But the judge, a grizzled Confederate relic with a drawl like molasses, eyed me skeptical. MS. Harlan, this family's a Gordian knot. You sure you want the blade? Sharper the better. Your Honor, I replied, voice steady as a Smith & Wesson. Marcus, in the gallery, thumbs upped, he'd sourced the Ethereum trail. Blockchain unspooling like toilet paper in a hurricane. Jake's wallet? Linked to shell accounts. Funneled through his startup's philanthropy arm. Irony's middle name. Prosecution folded early. Charges dropped with a gavel crack that echoed like freedom's starter pistol. Lila's fraud appeal? Denied. Sentencing bumped to postpartum. Her 5-spot a specter. She lunged as we filed out. Tether beeping warning. You think this ends it? Eve, baby's coming, Jake's ours. You, yesterday's bride. I paused. Magnolias wilting in the hall vase. Ends? Honey. It's intermission. Jake hovered. Apology scripted on his lips. But I breezed past. Heels clicking manifesto. The birth announcement hit Insta 3 weeks later. Welcome. Travis James Beck-Harlan. Blended beginnings. Blended, code for screw you. Eva. Comments flooded. Well-wishers. Trolls. A few from my old clients, congrats. After that wedding. I scrolled in my loft. Now unpacked with mid-century knockoffs and a fridge stocked with takeout cartons. Freelance trickled back, Dolores's panaderia booming. Her referrals a quiet vindication. But nights? Sleepless symphonies of what-ifs. Mama's voice crooning hymns over the AC hum. Marcus called it victory lap blues. We met at a dive off Cheshire Bridge. Neon buzzing open like a dare. Over wings and whiskey. He slid a thumb drive across the scarred formica. Insurance policy. Dug into Jake's VC files. That philanthropy? Shell for laundering startup kickbacks. Lila's GoFundMe? Funneled through it. Your wedding vid the catalyst to clean house. I whistled low. So he played us both? Funded her defense to bury his dirt.
Copy.
And get this, Travis? Not the daddy. Paternity test in the works. Jake's covering hush money to keep the blended myth afloat. The drive held emails, wire transfers, a damning board memo, leverage family drama for PR pivot, exposed to absolve. Rage bloomed. Hot as Kian. Not just betrayal, conspiracy, corporate voodoo turning my pain to profit. Jake's startup? Valued at 50 mil. IPO whispers. My exposure? The viral hook that tanked competitors, positioning him as the transparent innovator. I drove to the vineyard that weekend, uninvited. The hills gold with autumn fire. The arbor stood scarred, wisteria strangled by neglect. Jake answered the caretaker's cottage door in flannel, baby bottle in hand. Travis James, or whatever lie they spun, gurgling from a bassinet.
Eva.
Lila's napping. Lucky her. I thrust the drive at him. Play it. Or I FedEx to your board. SCC seat. He paled, slotting it into a laptop with trembling hands. Slides rolled. Laundered funds. Lila's cut as consultant. My prison stint cited in a resilience case study pitch deck. His empire. Built on my rubble. It's not, he stammered. Save it. You didn't just sleep with her. You monetized us. The kid? Collateral in your redemption arc. The baby fussed. He rocked it absently, eyes pleading. I love her.
Eva. The mess.
It made us. Love, that's your spin. I snatched the drive, but paused at the door. Tell Lila the circle's closed, or I'll open it wider. Back in the city, I ghosted them all, blocked, deleted. A digital scorched earth. Agency relaunched as Phoenix Designs, tagline, rising from the ashes. Unapologetically. Clients poured in. Dolores's chain expanding. A memoir ghostwrite for a whistleblower. Marcus? Partnered up. His PI firm my silent sentinel. The final twist dropped like a guillotine. Lila's midnight call from the estate. Voice slurry with postpartum haze.
Eve.
It's not Jake's. Travis. But he thinks static. A crash. Silence. Voicemail cutoff. But the implication? She'd torched her own nest. Confessing to buy sympathy or sabotage. I didn't call back. Instead, I flew to Mobile. Shotgun house raised for condos. But the bayou unchanged, gators sunning. Egrets stark white against mud. Mama's grave. Simple granite. Faithful until dawn. I laid a lemon chiffon cupcake. Frosting smeared. She wore white.
Mama.
But I kept the gown. Ending? Debatable as Delta fog. Lila vanished. Rumors of a Canadian clinic. Baby in tow. Jake lawyered into oblivion. His IPO cratering on leak scandals.
Me?
Thriving. Scarred. Single. Revenge won. But at what cost? No heroes here, just survivors in the gray. Arguing over the ashes. Blood's thicker.
Y'all.
But bourbon burns cleaner.